Waheguru Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ki Fateh. My name is Gursant Singh, and today I want to speak directly to those Sikhs who support Jagraj Singh from Basics of Sikhi, who attended Yogi Bhajan's tantric yoga celebration there in Espanola, New Mexico in June. Now, there have been a lot of discussions about his going there and why he didn't speak up about the many anti-Gurmat practices that take place within the Yogi Bhajan Dera. And as many of you know, I was with the Yogi Bhajan group for 30-some years or so. And I've put out there numerous, possibly hundreds of videos showing the anti-Gurmat practices of the Yogi Bhajan group. Thousands of photos that have been published showing 3HO people how they do these Hindu havans, Hindu pujas, how Yogi Bhajan's teachings are anti-Gurmat, how they do astrology, how they worship Yogi Bhajan by doing this Guru Yoga, which is meditating on his Yogi Bhajan's picture. Even the SikhNet director, Guruka Singh, has admitted to keeping Yogi Bhajan's fingernails in his nitnem. These are all anti-Gurmat practices. And so when I talk about these anti-Gurmat practices, I'm not just talking out of my head about these things that go on there at the Yogi Bhajan group. These are actually real practices that I experienced when I was in 3HO and that were taught to us by Yogi Bhajan. And now the SikhNet and 3HO people are continuing to promote. So it's very much of a concern to Sikhs like myself who have adopted a philosophy that adheres to the Sikh Maryada and to Gurmat practices, to see how Jagraj Singh is not speaking up against what these Yogi Bhajan people are doing. He had a wonderful opportunity to do that, where he could interact with them and talk to them about why these practices are unacceptable in Sikhi. So let me talk about a little bit how I see Jagraj Singh has been sort of seduced into this Yogi Bhajan group. Like I said, I was with the Yogi Bhajan group for 30 years. And so I'm really well familiar about how when you're married to somebody who is in 3HO or was in 3HO, how this becomes a real seduction to align yourself with these anti-Gurmat practices of Yogi Bhajan. It was very difficult for me to get out of this group. It was only by Guru Sahib Ji's grace that I was able to free myself from the anti-Gurmat practices of Yogi Bhajan. As many of you may know, I was in India there. I was arrested on false charges, spent 2 years there under what I call country arrest by the Punjab police there. And one of the really positive things that happened from this was that I was able to meet many good Gursikhs there, and I was able to interact with them and spend a lot of time at the Darbar Sahib in Amritsar, where I was able to meditate and to focus on what Guru Sahib Ji really wanted for me. And so it became very clear to me after reading this book by Dr. Jagraj Singh, who exposed Yogi Bhajan in 1977, that Yogi Bhajan's teachings were, for the most part, anti-Gurmat. And it was kind of a mix of Sikhi and Hindu philosophy and his own made-up mishmash of doctrines, which Yogi Bhajan had tried to instill in us when we were in 3HO. So, as I see it, Jagraj Singh has been sucked into this whirlpool, if you will, of seduction by Yogi Bhajan's philosophy and the people around him and his family that were part of 3HO. So, as I said, it was very difficult for me to get out, and it was only by Guru Sahib Ji's grace that I was able to finally realize the truth about what Yogi Bhajan was about and about what this cult was about. And let's face it, it is a cult. Yogi Bhajan's group is based on a cult around Yogi Bhajan. Sikh Dharma, International, 3HO, SikhNet. These are all organizations that were created by Yogi Bhajan and are now run by people that subscribe to the philosophy and teachings and doctrine of Yogi Bhajan. In fact, a couple of years ago, I published a court-recorded document where SikhNet and the other Yogi Bhajan organizations signed on to an agreement where they can only teach the Sikh religion as taught by Yogi Bhajan. So that means that if anything doesn't coordinate with Yogi Bhajan's or doesn't align with Yogi Bhajan's teachings, like the Sikh Maryada or even the Siddhi Guru Granth Sahib Ji and the teachings there, then Yogi Bhajan's teachings, his philosophy, overrules anything else. And so this tells me that it's a cult around Yogi Bhajan. Any inquiring mind would understand this as well in the same way, that it's a cult around Yogi Bhajan. And this idea of cults is not a new thing. There's a whole field of psychology that has been developed around how people are influenced, persuaded by cults and cult leaders, how they're very persuasive. Yogi Bhajan was very persuasive and manipulative. He used some very sophisticated hypnotic techniques, I believe, this neuro-linguistic programming, which I investigated, and it was apparent to me after watching his videos and after watching how he talked to even like Gurumustuk Singh, who's the director of their SikhNet, as a little boy. He was using this neuro-linguistic programming to manipulate Gurumustuk psychologically and to actually, in effect, put a hypnotic trance on these people in 3HO. And if you talk to a lot of people in 3HO, you'll start to understand how they're super defensive about any kind of thing that Yogi Bhajan did. And if you try to criticize in any kind of way anything about what Yogi Bhajan did or what they're doing, they become very defensive. This is a very sure sign that they are under this hypnotic trance of Yogi Bhajan, because they don't want to look critically. They don't want to use their own minds to critically investigate what's going on there. And so what has become apparent to me is that Jagraj Singh has been kind of seduced into this trance-like atmosphere of 3HO, because increasingly I've seen on the internet now how Jagraj Singh has become increasingly defensive, throwing out these personal attacks against me, his ad hominem attacks against me, and calling me names, and it's kind of like a school kid calling somebody else names and then not saying anything else. So it's becoming disturbing, actually, to see that somebody who is supposed to be teaching Sikh Prachar is carrying on like this. Anyway, I pray to Guru Sahib Ji that people within the basics of Sikhi organization and people that come in contact with Jagraj Singh will try to talk to him and help him see that he's being seduced into this tantric yoga, the Yogi Bhajan taught, and this group. I know SikhNet is very convincing and very seductive. They have a very slick website. They put this facade on about how they teach Sikhi, but their underlying philosophy is one of adhering to the doctrines and philosophy of Yogi Bhajan. That takes precedent over all other philosophies and doctrines. So they offer money. They've got a lot of money. They offer free advertising, and I can see how this would be appealing to somebody who, like Jagraj Singh, who's young, who hasn't had a lot of experience with these type of people. Anyway, as I said before, I implore people at basic Sikhi that are around Jagraj Singh and around people that may be influenced by these SikhNet people to try to understand what this cult is really about. As I said, I was under their influence for 30-some years, and being married to somebody in 3HO, having family and all these people around, it's very, very difficult to get out of this spider web, this whirlpool that will just completely encompass you if you don't look beyond and see the truth of what's really going on there. So I have lots of videos out there, lots of posts, and not just me too, about how these people, or the SikhNet people and the 3HO people, practice these anti-Gurmat practices. So it's not just me talking about these things. You can just search on the internet and see how many people are speaking up about this. And long before me, there was Dr. Jagraj Singh who wrote this book, Sikhism and Tantric Yoga, which I encourage all of you to read, which is very good and goes in depth about the exact reasons why Yogi Bhajan is preaching anti-Gurmat practices. And Dr. Jagraj Singh predicted that the 3HO people would fall into complete debauchery as a result of their following Yogi Bhajan's corrupt practices. So thank you for your time, and I hope, again, you use your inquiring minds to investigate and use critical thinking in order to research this subject and to look closely into what Yogi Bhajan was really about. Waheguਰੂ Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguਰੂ Ji Ki Fateh.